Good morning, everyone. Here we are in my test kitchen, Nonna's test kitchen. We're going to make some biscotti today. We're going to make plain biscotti. These are biscotti that you could turn into anything you like. You can add almonds, walnuts, pecans, hemp hearts, but we're going to make them plain because Nicole, my granddaughter, does not like anything in hers. So what we're going to do, we're going to measure a cup of sugar. We're going to zest a little bit of lemon in there. There we go. And you don't need to put much for a little bit of a scent. You can just do half. And then add a touch of, maybe a teaspoon of vanilla would work too. There we go. We'll just go with just a bit of lemon here. We're almost done the zesting. And we'll save this one for another time. There we go. You can zest it many ways with a zester. You can do it this way, or you can actually put it on and just go this way. Whatever you find easiest. Nothing is complicated in a kitchen if you really enjoy cooking. There we go. What we're going to do, we're going to clean off the zester with the sugar that I put in, the cup of sugar that I added. So because all the oils from the lemon are in the sugar. So we're going to just use our fingers to get the lemon out, the oils of the lemon out into the sugar. There you go. Because your hands will actually bring out all the oils because your fingertips, our fingertips are warm enough to do that. So then you have a lemon scented sugar. We're going to add a teaspoon of vanilla to that. You can add a little less, you can add a little more. It's all up to what you like. But this is a very, very simple recipe. Okay, there we go with that. And now I'm just going to incorporate the vanilla and the sugar. And that's that. It's a very, if you've never ever made biscotti, this, you want to try this because it's the simplest recipe. For years, I used to always like roll the dough with lots of flour. They became dry. It was awful until I really narrowed it down to this. And then we're going to take three eggs, room temperature, at room temperature. Crack those in. And like I said, as you watch me, it is the most simplest recipe you're ever going to make. If you like biscotti, that is. I'm going to rinse off my hands. And then we're going to incorporate the eggs into the scented sugar. Now, say you were going to be adding the nuts or the raisins or cranberries or anything else, this is where you would do it. Like I said, we're making it very plain because my little granddaughter Nicole loves them plain. So we're doing a plain recipe for Nicole. And what I'm going to do at this point is add a cup and a third of flour. There's a cup and a third of flour. We have a cup and a third of flour, like I said, about 2 or 3 times, so we don't forget. Because sometimes you see these recipes and everybody's rushing through them. I hate that. But it's so simple. So let's keep it very simple. Here's a teaspoon of baking powder. And then I put in about 1/4 of a teaspoon of soda. Most recipes you do have to sift the flour and the baking soda and the powder or the salt or whatever. I don't. I just do this with my fingers before I incorporate it. So now slowly we're going to incorporate this. And here we are, nice and gentle, and it gets very incorporated really slow. Very gently. You don't want to be going crazy and just mixing it like really hard. Just gently, because it doesn't, you don't want it to be just really mushy or too smooth, because then it wouldn't be the consistency that we want to get it. There we go. Usually the mixture should not be runny. The mixture needs to be just nicely where it's not runny. And sometimes if your egg is a bigger egg, usually you can use 3 large eggs or 3 medium eggs, but it all depends. If the 3 eggs are bigger, you may have to add a little more flour. If the eggs are smaller, you add a little less flour. But it all comes together, just like you can see right here. It should look like that. And then, believe it or not, your biscotti are almost ready to go into the oven. It's like I said, keep in mind that if you want to add anything, it'll go into the sugar and egg mixture. So here's our biscotti.
Go.
We're going to put it onto a cookie sheet with some parchment paper. And try and get it like right at the center. Mine kind of decided it was going to flop on the side. But it doesn't matter, because when you've got parchment paper, it's easy to work with. It's not going to hurt anything. So we're just going to do this here and just make a log. You're going to be making a log instead of rolling it and adding more flour and making it a very difficult procedure. We're doing it this way. I didn't aim it right in the center, but it doesn't matter. It's not the end of the world if it's not going to be perfect. Okay? And this is your biscotti, and it's going to be going into a 350-degree oven, and it will be cooking for approximately 30 minutes. The log takes about that. Now, you can sprinkle the log with sugar, or you could sprinkle it with confetti, or just plain icing sugar, or you could leave it just the way it is, and then ice it with any icing you like after we bake it the second time, which you will see in my next video, or actually when we continue the video after it's baked, I will show you that. But right now what I will do, I will just sprinkle it with some icing sugar and sprinkles, just to give it a nice little look. And I do have some.
Zoom.
And we're going to throw some icing sugar and sprinkles on that. It just gives it a prettier look. There we go. And again, this will bake at a 350 oven for half an hour. Okay, here it is baking in the oven, and it should be ready in about 20 more minutes. Okay, we are back. The biscotti log is just about ready. It's just the color I want it. So we're going to take it out. And it's going to cool for about 10 minutes before we slice it. So we'll talk to you in a few minutes. So here we are cooling it off. And I usually take it off my cookie sheet to cool it. You could put it on a rack, but I've done it both ways and it doesn't really matter. So we'll talk to you in a little while after it's cooled to go to the next step.
Go.
Okay, we're back. We are going to cut the ends of the biscotti log. And usually whoever's around me will try them. And sometimes people say cut them on an angle. It's not important to do that. Not necessary at all. I just cut them to the thickness that I like them. And here we go. We should get about 1.5 dozen out of this, depending on how thick I want them. These are my granddaughter's favorite. They're a plain one. And I usually call this my biscotti cake because it reminds anybody of eating birthday cake. So my birthday cake biscotti is what they are. They're pretty cool. You can put them on a beautiful platter when you're serving a dinner, or if you're going to turn them and put them on a beautiful platter with a pedestal. You can actually put a candle in the middle of them when you set it all up. It's pretty neat, something different. So we've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 17, 18, 19. You could actually get about 20 out of the recipe. We're going to transfer them back onto the cookie sheet because they're going to be rebaking for a little while. If you don't want them extra crispy, you just leave them in for 10 minutes. If you want them extra crispy, ready for dunking, you leave them in about 20 minutes at 300 degrees. I'm going to leave them a little softer, so I'm going to put them in just for about 10 minutes because I believe some people just like them softer, that they don't have to dunk them. And if you want to leave them just the way they are, you just let the log cook for an extra 10 minutes if you don't want to rebake them. But they are called biscotti because they are cooked twice. There we go, and we'll come back to you once they're done at 300 degrees for about 10 minutes.
Go.
They're baking and they'll be in there, like I said, 10 minutes. There we go, and we'll come back again.
Now.
Okay, here we are, and it's about, I said about 10 minutes. I think we had them in at 300 for about 15 minutes. Now we're going to let them cool just for a few minutes before I assemble them on my cake plate. Just to show you a simple idea. There we go. I could handle them. That's pretty good. I'm going to show you what I do with them to make it like it's for a cake. I think it's kind of a cool idea. If somebody loves biscotti, you make them a biscotti birthday cake. It's just kind of neat. Be different. And you can put a flower in the middle. You can put a piece of fruit well decorated. You can just put a candle. It's up to you how you want to do it or decorate it. No special way at all. But I didn't cook them too long because, like I said, they are one of my granddaughter's favorites. And I left them just the way she likes them. And my son used to love them just the same as she does. Nice and light. Here we are, and we're all set up. And here's the biscotti cake. The biscotti birthday cake. Or it could be an anniversary cake, but keep in mind, this is just a rough way I did it. You can do it in so many ways. You can build it up and make it your own with a beautiful candle and everything. And what I'm going to suggest right now, that I hope you enjoy this very, very simple biscotti recipe. And happy baking!